thought you said you're going to cheer me up.
Hi guys, Ray here from City Fan TV. I think you just got the start of Bernard completely.
He's got me on false pretenses, listeners. He said he's going to cheer me up, and then just before we go live, he says I'm going to talk about the FA Cup final.
Just briefly. Oh, what a palaver! My brother-in-law, big Man United fan. He doesn't. Funnily enough, he doesn't watch them that much anymore. The last few years, I think he's given up his season ticket as well. And he was round on Sunday evening, and I told my missus, I'm not coming down. I said for the last 6 or 7 years, we don't talk too much football because he doesn't want to. And I said, I'm not coming down. Time to go. Leave the cake, because it was my birthday last week. Leave the cake and go back home. Oh, have you recovered yet, mate? Is it still?
Yeah, but the problem I've got is, of course, I've had 5 days off, so I've still got to suffer all the indignity when I go and work on Thursday yet. So I've got over it in my own mind.
Yeah,
I was quite positive, but of course, I know I'm going to have to try and smile and say, "Well done, yeah, you won it." And and I find it very hard to do that, mate. Even if it's true, I just do.
Yeah, look. We were gracious winners. When we won everything for so many years, we have to be gracious losers too. Screw you, Man United! No chance am I going to be gracious to you. Get stuffed. We're not being nice to you. Anyway, sorry guys, we're having a bit of, I think the word technical problems, because I'm a bit fuzzy today. I've had to go and change my shirt, thinking it was a black shirt. I've got green screen, nice green screen. I've got Bernard there, and everything's going a bit wonky today.
I sound as though I'm in Florida or something, don't I? I'm on a bit of a time lag.
Time delay.
I wish I bloody was in Florida, mate. I'll tell you.
You're warmer than here, mate. I tell you that. It's just kind of
the hoodie's back on. I've had the hoodie off for a few days. It's been back on the last 4 or 5 days.
Just kind of sums up our weekend, doesn't it? Just sums it up with what's happened. Anyway, we'll roll on. There is good news. Some good news, and we're going to kind of focus today on transfers, bit of tit and tattle, and names that mostly about potentially people leaving, and one name that might have been coming and might not be coming. We'll just go through a few things that have popped up, and if I miss anything out, please let me know in the comment section, or Bernard can remind me if I miss anything out. So I'll start with the most important transfer of the summer, Kalvin Phillips. It's been rumoured Everton are interested in our Kalvin, and let's be honest, he never had a future last season. He's certainly got no future next season, and everything else. The kid wants
not when Pep turns around and says he hasn't got one. No.
Look, he can only stay for the money, and I can't see him. Look, he's got a couple of... he got a title last season, didn't he?
Yeah.
So, look, he's been part of the treble team. He's got the part of the four timers, 4 in a row. Call them what you want. And so I think...
Well, of course, the bad thing is, of course, Leeds were supposedly coming back in for him. They got promoted, weren't they? So that's put a kibosh on that.
Yeah. But there's talk of Everton being interested. And the thing is with Everton... they haven't got big money, I don't think. They need to probably get rid of a few players. Obviously, there's talk of Branthwaite going to United before the end of June. I know the transfer window is on the 1st of July. But everybody's accounts, I think almost everybody's, finishes at the end of June. Everton are still in a perilous position because of their financial dealings and, filling FFP.
Cheaters.
Oh, I'm going to have the blue noses toffees on my case now, Bernard.
Well, they know we're only doing it as a joke.
Yeah. I've got to say up front, this channel does not condone the views of Bernard Deneen. Okay, I'm just getting them.
Bernard Deneen doesn't condone the views of Bernard Deneen, so you're all right.
All right. But look, they got dot points twice. They don't want to be in that position again. And one of the ways, very briefly, to get out of that position, same as Chelsea, is to sell players, especially homegrown talent that's cost you virtually nothing, and you can sell for big money, and that is an immediate profit in your accounts. Makes a huge difference. And if Everton can get 60 million for Branthwaite, that's 60 million profit, and I do believe that will get them back into passing FFP, but they've got to do it before the end of June. So the way it's kind of going to work, get your sales done before the end of June, and same with Chelsea. So I'm not sure we'd be in for Branthwaite, but it looks like United were going to. I mean, I think.
Is your left back?
Centre back, isn't he? Branthwaite. I'm going to have to check. I thought you'd know all this thing.
No, I rely on you, mate. Bloody hell, come on.
I hope you didn't catch what I just said there. I might have to. I said my foot. He's a centre back, isn't he? I'll check his age.
So not someone we're interested in then.
No, he's come from Carlisle. He had a few loan spells at Blackburn, PSV. Played for PSV's second team. A few appearances for England under 20s, under 21s. He is 21 years old. He'll be 22 next month. So, so there's talk of him being worth, in a good transfer window, 80 million quid because of his potential. That's too much. I mean, Joshua Gvardiol cost us a bit less than that, not by much. And he was younger, and he'd just been at the World Cup, so there's a big difference. But English tax and all that, but there's also talk that United might go in for about 60 million to get him, because you can't do what Nottingham Forest did with Brennan Johnson, where they could have passed FFP or PSR if they'd sold him to Brentford for 35 million. They held out for I think 50 million or whatever from Spurs, but that meant they failed FFP or PSR. So you've got to get the timing right. So I think United might be in for about 60 million. So that would give Everton. Look at
that. No, is it transfer market? They value him as at 42 million euros.
Rubbish.
That's a side that values Erling and Mbappe at 180 million euros.
I don't care what they say. I mean, they've had some ridiculous things, and the problem is people go to them. But when I've seen the valuations for City players or what they were sold for, and some of them don't ring true. So I think they overvalue some players and undervalue others, and so I'm not that fussed about what they say. But my feeling is it could go for about 60 million because they need the money before the end of June. If they could hang on till July, August, they might get 70, 75 from United. But I just don't think they'll do that. But what it means is if they can sell Branthwaite for about 60 million, and if that sorts out their finances for this year, it means they can go out and spend some money on Kalvin Phillips. Now, the good thing for Everton is I don't think Kalvin Phillips, if Kalvin Phillips was playing regular for Man City or reasonable enough, City would ask for 50 million. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to be quite happy just to dump him. 30 million, 35 tops. I can't see Everton paying more than that. And the good thing from Everton's point of view is because of the way the finances work, they buy the player. Let's say they pay 35, 36 million for him, put him on a 4-year contract. That hits their accounts at 9 million a year, plus his wages. His wages will be, let's say, 150 grand a week. So that's going to hit the accounts for somewhere in the region of 15 million quid a year. Okay, that's not too bad for Everton. It's not too bad. And they're getting a player who 2 years ago was an England starter, even last year was an England starter, or if you say the best 15, 16 in England, he would be your backup to your DM. He'd be your backup to Declan Rice.
Why? I mean, it interests me why teams like Everton, who probably need pretty decent quality players, why would you buy Kalvin Phillips based on what he did at West Ham as well?
That's a good point. I just think no.
I mean, we know somewhere deep down there's not a bad player. He was certainly far better for England, etc., than when I've seen him play for England. But there's something not right. Is it just a wish, a hope that, of course, he'll find some of his early form?
you take a risk. I mean, look, Everton paid 35 million quid for Alex Iwobi. So, but the thing is, certain players don't work at certain clubs. Iwobi's gone off to Brighton, and he's done pretty well there. I think that's the right place he's gone. So, I will check because it would be quite bad if I get that wrong. But
would you say West Ham was more high profile than Everton at the moment?
Yeah. I mean, they were in Europe, weren't they?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that's a big difference as well. I think, no disrespect to Everton, but at this point in time, West Ham, in theory, are a bigger proposition, aren't they?
And guys, before you come and jump on me for saying Everton, he's at Fulham, not Everton. Okay? Don't jump on me. Got that wrong. But you're right. But as I said, certain players don't fit in at certain clubs. They'll go and they'll move somewhere else and they'll be brilliant. So it could just be that he didn't fit in at City. He's on a bad, you don't become a poor player overnight or in a few months. And Kalvin is still young enough. So I think he's a good option for Everton. And the other thing is, it's at the money. It's a risk, you're right. Because if he turns out like he played for West Ham, Everton have bought themselves a pup. But if it turns out, I
won't say what transfer market value I'm at.
But if he turns out and plays like he did for England or Leeds, then they've got a bargain. So that's how they're going to look at it. And they can't go out and spend the 50s and 60 millions on much better either prospects or people who've delivered. And I think that's where it's. So yeah, I hope he goes because we just need rid of him.
I think he fits. I think he fit the Dyche mold more, perhaps, than he would another team anyway.
Yeah. So I think he'll do a good job potentially there. Let's hope that move happens.
Yeah, because we all, despite what happened, I think we all like Kalvin Phillips, don't we? Simple as that.
It's been, I reckon, it's a long time since we disliked a City player. Can you think of the last City player you really disliked?
What, in small doses, or well, apart from Cancelo, perhaps recently.
But did you really, really dislike him, or you just?
I've never hated him particularly. I mean, obviously, I remember singing horrible songs about old Carlos many moons ago when he was doing the dirty on us, about Herman Munster's head and all this sort of thing. But they were very popular songs at the time, mate. We were all singing it. So,
Hey, speak for yourself. I'm a good, clean guy. If you mention Joey Barton, now you're talking. Joey B, the B stands for.
The only thing I can say about someone like Joey Bat, at least occasionally he is. I know he's no need to be particular, and we don't what he's got up to, but he can be pro City, which more than some of the other guys that are in the media are.
Yeah,
whether you want it to be or not, but that's how it is. It's just it's like Carragher saying something nice about us, isn't it? It's just it would be impossible and not very nice if he did.
Yeah, Joey B. The B stands for Astrid. Yeah. Anyway, but he's. We don't hate Kalvin Phillips. The first season I don't think we minded because he was there on a dream ticket, weren't he? He was getting paid well, being at City, won the treble. He was enjoying it, but I just think he needs to play. So hopefully he'll move on. You mentioned West Ham, so I'm going to mention one of their players now. We like to mention players that don't play for City. We're not Pep, are we? Lucas Paquetá. I wanted to do this video last week and say, hey, I told you so. Okay. All these people have come out and said City are going to be linked with him again. And he's a good player. I think he's a good player to be linked with in terms of what he can do on the pitch. But it's his alleged indiscretions off the pitch that are the worry. Now, last week he was charged by the FA. There were 4 cases of him basically trying to pick up a yellow card. And I said it at the time when this came out, when we were heavily linked with him, that I just can't see City touching him with the barge ball because what he's alleged to have done is very, very serious. I'm surprised the police aren't involved with what he's alleged to have done. And trying to deny it from the information that came out last year, I just don't see how he's going to get off this. What he was alleged to have done was looking for these yellow cards. Okay. Now, there's a betting company, I believe it was Betway, who sponsored West Ham, incidentally, who said there were unusual betting patterns. Apparently, some people in Brazil, I'm not even sure it's the same city that Paquetá was from, okay, some of his apparent acquaintances opened accounts with Betway. So they weren't long-standing customers. They opened an account with Betway. Now, I can see why they opened an account with Betway, because they see it emblazoned across his chest when he's playing. Okay? So it's first company you think. So they opened an account, plays decent-sized bets, not on him just getting a yellow card. Okay? That would have been, okay, that's a little bit odd. But on some fella in Spain getting a yellow card as well, they did a double. And lo and behold, Paquetá and the fellow in Spain got yellow cards. Now, apparently they said Paquetá's done that 4 times, picked up yellows, and they said he was looking to get booked. So the chances, I mean, look, it would be one humongous coincidence that some friends of Lucas Paquetá coincidentally opened a betting account, started betting for the first time, bet on Lucas Paquetá to get a yellow card, and did a double with somebody else to get a yellow card. And by the looks of it, bet on him to get more than, yellow cards in other games. It just doesn't wash with me that there's an innocent explanation to it. Hey, there might be, but I can't see it. So are you bothered? Are you disappointed? Or do you say we should be sticking well clear of this guy? Because if you look at what's happened with other people, Ivan Toney got, was it a 7-month ban, 9-month ban? And he was betting on his own team to win. He was not betting on them to lose. Other players, Tonali's got a huge ban. Okay? And he's not betting on his own team to lose or things like this. We saw the cricketers, Mohamed Amir, Mohamed Asif and Salman Butt, go to jail for this kind of offence. Spot fixing kind of thing, okay? Doing things negatively on order. I still can't believe I actually saw the video again of Matt Letizia talking about when he did it, and he got off with it. I don't know why. And so I can't see Paquetá getting off. Not with the FA and not with the coppers. I'm surprised the old Bill haven't tapped his shoulder, because this is corruption. So, yeah, back to my question. You say, look, forget about him. Best not interested. Don't touch him with a barge ball. Or do you think we've missed out on a good signing?
Well, if Pep wants someone, he's got to be a good signer, whether I think he's any good or not. Basically, Simple as that. About 3 weeks ago, there was strong links that it was being sorted, and Paquetá was back on the radar. And I thought, okay. But then, of course, as I say, since then, it's all blown up in the face. And I don't think it'd be like you. Cheeky would be nowhere near this. In fact, if we're on the way of fraud, I thought I want to have a look at a few of the City players looked at for the cup final performance, mate. If you can have a word, because allegedly I wasn't happy with how some of them performed. So I think Betway should have a look at the betting that was going on in that cup final. But no, seriously. Sort of semi-seriously.
mate. You've got to be careful what you say, because
we're not the organisation to want to. We've seen it when things happen with the Mendy situation. We've seen it's not the sort of thing we want to be involved with, even though we are cheating. It's not the sort of things we want to encourage. So I'm like you. I can't see this ever at the moment.
Yeah. We are cheating Joy Bartons, aren't we? Cheating Joy Bees. Look, and City do not. Like you say, you mentioned Mendy. If people want to throw it at us that we're a sports washing exercise for Abu Dhabi, why would they want to be embroiled in? They were embroiled with. I forgot the fella's name. Benno. They were embroiled with the sex abuse. With that, problems with Mendy, and then why would they want to get involved with Paquetá and have problems there? So I think they want to see it well, and they weren't happy behind the scenes about Kyle Walker and his misdemeanors, getting his woohoo out in public and whatever. So I just can't see it. It'd be bonkers. And the thing is, if, as I suspect, he will be found guilty, the punishment has to be more than the punishment for Tonali, and has to be more than the punishment for Ivan Toney. So he's going to be looking at. I can't see them giving him more than a 12-month ban, even though if you compare them, it should be at least double Tony's ban. So, but I can see them giving him a 12-month ban. And the cop has been knocking on the door as well, and he could go down for I don't reckon it'd be more than a year, 18 months. It's all speculation here. Get off for good behaviour, but it's one thing, to be like Tony, who can still train reasonably well because he's not in a slammer. And someone like, if Paquetá goes down, I mean, it happens, and he's been banned from football as well at the same time. How are you going to train in the nick properly? You can't. So I just don't think. Well, ask Joe Barton. I mean, he's been there. We'll ask him. Get him on the channel. Go on and write to him. Get him on the channel.
Just don't watch this before you ring it. Delete it
before it comes on. But that's the point. So I just we should. That's it. Cut ties. There are other good players out there. We should be focused on them. But it's another coincidence, Bernard, because you said 3 weeks ago we were heavily linked with him, and then this comes out. Last year when we were heavily linked with him, looked like people talking it's going to happen. We're just agreeing the money, and then it came out last year about what had happened. With the yellow cards, it just seems very coincidental again. It just happens to happen at that time. So I just think stay clear, move on. There's other people to think about and talk about. So I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna talk about Vincent Kompany. Now you might ask, he don't play for us anymore. Are you living him back in 2019 is when he left, isn't it? The day after the FA Cup final. Are you living back then? No. The reason I mentioned Vincent Kompany because it looks like he's going to Bayern Munich. They've agreed a compensation deal with Burnley, and everybody's going. And Jeff Stelling said, and I quote something like, "That'll never happen." Okay. And a week or 10 days later, it's happening. Now, the reason I mentioned Vincent Kompany going to Bayern, which has come out of left field, no one expected it, is apparently Pep recommended Vincent Kompany to Bayern Munich. Now, and they hold Pep in such high regard, they've gone along with it. Now, the worry for me is I don't want Pep to do a Alex Ferguson on us and recommend, can you imagine Pep at the end of the season saying, look, let's get that Everton manager in, Sean Dyche. He'll do a great job. Exactly what Fergie did.
Protecting his legacy, mate. He's not stupid.
Look, mate, even Sir Alex Ferguson can't touch Pep's legacy. Yeah? Even Sir Alex Ferguson. I was going to make a rude joke, but I'm not allowed to. I've already been rude today a couple of times. So I just don't want Pep. He may want to be involved. I just don't feel comfortable Pep picking our next manager. I would rather go with Cheeky and Ferran and whoever's been involved in the process in the past.
Are you trying to say Pep doesn't know what he's talking about? Is that what you're saying, mate?
I've always said there's a very fine line between genius and idiot. And Pep sometimes, as we saw in the FA Cup final, sometimes strides on the wrong side of that line. I just can't believe. I'm just going to throw this out there and we'll move on. But I just can't believe Pep picked, was it John Stones and Ake? John Stones, who you hadn't picked for so many games. And then you pick him for this and Ake. So I could have accepted one of them, but not two. And you don't pick Doku knowing Man United are going to defend and that's it. And we're going to struggle to break them down. I defer to your judgment because you said you'd pick, I said Kovacic, you said Doku. And you were right. It should have been Doku. Hold my hands up. But No, anyway, so Pep can make mistakes. So, are you like me? Are you slightly concerned that Pep will have a hand in his own successor?
Depends how much of a hand, mate, doesn't it? I mean, that's the problem. You know, if he's got influence, which he obviously has, and the whole team might be changing. Let's face it, when it comes down to it, they could do it, and then there's no comeback, is there? That's the problem because there'll be no one left; they'll all be gone. So we'll be left with a manager. I mean, obviously, as an organisation, we pick managers for the CFG group and stuff like that, and it seems to work reasonably well. So we're not going to throw out the baby out with the bathwater. We're going to use certain steps that we've used over the last few years with other clubs in the City group. We've got an owner who's switched on, hopefully, to what's going on. He's not going to allow sentiment or whatever to come into this. And we'll worry about it when it gets there. But I'm not worried about Pep having a say in it. But of course, as you say, it won't just be Pep. It won't just be Pep. So I'm not too worried.
You don't want Pep to have the final say. I don't think. I think he should have a contribution. He definitely has a huge contribution to make, but he can't have the final say because
we are going to start off in a similar style and find a manager who plays that style.
Yeah, that's
as simple as that. So whether obviously Pep probably knows more than I do about other managers, he'll know what'll suit City. So that's a good thing. So he will have a big input, of course.
Talking about Pep, obviously he was asked on Monday. Was it Monday? Sunday. When was it? When was the parade?
Sunday,
sorry. I was going to say, be careful what you say. I just joked on social media when City said, but City on Twitter said, parade's going to be on Sunday at this time. And I wrote, oh, there's a joke. Hardly seems worth it now. Okay. And I got a few, actually from people I know, actually, it's mildly chastising me.
Well, there's a what's the word? A saturation point, isn't there? Let's be honest about it. It was an amazing achievement, the 4P, of course it was. But you think back to that United parade when they did 19, was it? It was a saturation point where you thought, well, they're not going to turn up for this, and they didn't. I mean, it never happened. It was awful weather, and United fans never turned up for it. And you get to that point with City now where I wouldn't have probably gone if we'd won a quadruple or something because I've seen it all. I saw it live. I don't particularly want to stand in the city centre with kids and God knows what and watch them go by for 10 minutes on a bus. Not even that, is it? 5 minutes on the bus? I'm not going to go to the special thing because they're always hard work. They're always
seem to me like the harder it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, the English in it, we're not very good at this sort of state where, in America, they're great at it, of course, screaming and whooping, but we're not. We're a bit more laid back. And
we're not Liverpool fans.
Yeah, I mean, this to me, I hope, obviously, whatever happens next year, but, we've got to consider when to have these parades. I think it's nice, but...
I don't think, personally, they should have had it the day after the cup final. If we'd won it, then I think
if we'd done the double, I think that would have been. I think the crowds, all right, they were good crowds anyway. No matter what anyone says, it's still a good turnout. Not fantastic, of course, but still a good turnout. It wasn't a big long route. They deliberately did that to not make sure it was reasonably full all the way along, which is quite good, and that's how they should do it. But as you say, if they'd done the double, all right, it wouldn't have affected me, but they would have had a bigger, and still people in London, of course. I mean, still people hadn't even come back, had they, at that stage? So, yeah, I thought it was a bit of a damp squib, knowing that we were going to do one, and then you're sort of thinking, "Oh Christ, I hope we do win the FA Cup because this will be a top." But it was well attended, but. Yeah, probably not for me. Or I mean,
I can understand why they didn't do it on Bank Holiday Monday because they did it late on a Sunday. Okay.
Yeah. Well, they had a run, didn't they? There was some sort of half 10K run or a half marathon or something.
For me, like you say, there's some people coming back.
And United's, by the way, have United got one? They got no. Liverpool, they got Liverpool, not theirs on the head. Arsenal. How does Arsenal's go?
I have to keep my hands under the table because I want to show some fingers. No. But Ten Hag's won 2 trophies in two seasons. He's not done bad, has he? But Arsenal have won big fat 0. But no, the thing is, for me, I'd have probably done it on Monday lunchtime, Monday 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
You know, because it's bank holiday, a lot of people on holiday, and do it just after lunch. And as you say, gives people a chance to come back from London, and you're not as deflated, because there's no question about it. After the FA Cup final, fans were deflated anyway. I might talk about that another time with you. But the question is, Pep, he was asked. Natalie said, "Are you going to stay forever? Please stay." All right, you can look at that as a bit of frivolity, or a bit daft.
I'm glad I wasn't there, because the first thing I would have asked him is, "What the hell was that about yesterday, mate? Can you give us an explanation?" I would have done. He says his tactics are all right. We're getting back to this again. He said his tactics are wrong. Well, can you please tell me how you got your tactic? We're playing United. You know how United play. What exactly was it? The 11 you got wrong, or was it that the 11 was spot on for you? Or did I would have asked it if I was nasty. I would have asked him that. I'm not interested in how long you're staying, mate. What happened?
Well, you can mention that. I said to the centre backs, sorry, you've just gone bang, 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 bang. Won about 8 games on the bounce. Your defence has actually started.
Why the hell did we get Zach Steffen back in there? What happened to Ortega? Why did he come back, Zach Steffen? Because that's what he looked like. He looked like a bloody.
The thing is, Ortega
rabbit in the headlights.
After saying so many good things about him, he's not let us down. He goes and lets us down. I didn't talk to you after the FA Cup final, so we didn't have to go over this. So I could look a bit more jolly. Because my missus said, "What's wrong with you?" after the cup final. On top of that, I didn't go down to get a ticket because I was supposed to do this gig, and then it got cancelled. So I found out the day before. And I couldn't have. To be honest, I couldn't have I've done my backing, so it would have been good to go down and spend the day. Because if any United fans were chasing me, I wouldn't be able to run. So
Anyway, let's. I've got off the subject again, haven't we? About Pep and how long he's staying. Yeah.
Is he going to do 1 year? And is that it? Is that what your feeling is now?
Yeah. I did say he'd stay till the World Club Cup, but.
Well, that's
listen to what I'm listed to. He'll probably give that to the next manager to have a go at, just to get his feet under the table.
That's the point. But it's such a prestigious trophy, and there's a lot of money at stake as well.
They do. Pep and managers of his ilk do put a lot into these sort of trophies, don't they? So, but that would be probably him with the guy who's taking over, a sort of him in charge, but the guy will be there with him.
It has to be, because that's in June. Now, if you don't have the next guy knocking about, you're going to have the guy taking over in July. Well, the players are on holiday, so your manager's the players are going to come back towards the end of July. The coach has got 3 weeks, 4 weeks max. No, can't be seeing that. So they'll have to work something out. So just looking at him, it feels like next year could be it. But we said it a few times, and he's extended, so we'll wait and see. We'll rattle through a few more names. KdB, there was a link with him to Saudi, and now apparently he's going to sign a contract extension. Do you know how long that might be? Is it a 1 year, 2 years, or no idea?
No, I mean, you think back to the Gundo cock up, don't you? I suppose, but for who he is, you've got to give him 2, haven't you? And then obviously if he goes after a year with a fee to someone.
See, the other difference is he's a year older as well. When Gundo left, let's just check Gundo's age. Gundo now is 33. So,
and he is City's highest earner, I think, isn't he still?
Yeah. I thought Haaland was on £2 million a week, wasn't he? Anyway.
Yeah, well, officially, KdB's still the top man, but...
Well, KdB is... The thing is, he's the same age as Gundogan when Gundogan left. They're both 32. He'll be 33 next year. Next month, KdB. 28th of June. So you've got to offer him. When does his contract finish? Next year anyway. So I think you've got to offer him a 1 year extension. So he's got 2 years left. And I think rather than leave it to the last year, if you want him, you've always got to give him an extra year. So he's got 2 years left. If after next season, he's still playing well, towards the end of the season, offer him that extra year. You don't want him to, but he might say, I'll take a couple of years in Saudi, because can you imagine how much KdB would get paid in Saudi Arabia. You know, he's one of the big star names. He's bigger than Benzema, but Benzema's like 37 years old. Mahrez, they're not in the class as KdB. That is a humongous name to get. So they could easily pay him 25, 30 million a year. And he, as on the reasons I said before, you get 30 million quid a year for 2 years. That's 60 million quid. And it's all in your back pocket. And you've got no expenses because they pay for everything. So it's 60 million in your back pocket. Whereas here, he might be on.
I knew you weren't going to cheer me up in this vlog. I knew it was going to be depressing.
No, he's not going. I'm saying he's not going.
I'm on about that. I'm on about the money. You know, I'm on £11.44 an hour, mate. I mean, you know, it's too depressing.
£4 a week, £4 an hour is great. But KdB's not going. Good. Okay. Edison, is he going? Do you reckon he'll go to Saudi?
Edison ain't going. I hope he isn't because I don't want Ortega to be number one.
Just because of one mistake?
No, because I know what he's like. Ortega, week in, week out, won't be as good as he is when he makes these impact substitutions. It's as simple. I've seen it. I can see it in his style as a keeper. I mean, I know I'm not to his level, but I just know between the lines he's a really good keeper. But if he was expected to play 40, 50 games a year, it will not be the same keeper.
He'll not play to the consistent high level of Edison. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. So, but we hope Edison stays.
My opinion. I mean, I hope I'm wrong if it happens, but that's just because if you look at his previous career, you know, he's done it. A goalkeeper can be superb at a rubbishy team because they put under lots of pressure, and you can. But it's when you play for a higher profile team, you've got to do it. And he's never quite done it at that sort of level consistently. And he's not he's not as though he's a 22-year-old, is it? He's been there, done it, got the ball. But he's a great keeper. He's a great number 2, of course he is. But
There's 3 more players I want to mention. The first one is Bernardo Silva. I said it last year that he'll be available for 50 million quid. And
PSG have pulled out, haven't they?
Have they?
Apparently, I've just read today that PSG are no longer interested in Bernardo Silva.
Depends who. I mean, I think the 2 clubs that you would have thought would have been Barcelona and PSG. Could Real Madrid go for him? You know, Toni Kroos is gone. Bernardo's 28, 29. Kroos is gone. Next year, I think, could be the last year for Modric, who's 38, 37.
And what is his buyout? 50?
50. Especially since you're getting Mbappe. I mean, obviously, money's going to come into it because they're getting Mbappe. Next year, they're talking about getting, guy from Bayern Munich, the defender. Is it? I'm trying to remember his name. David Alaba. Is it Alaba? Or have they got him? Oh, I can't remember now. There is a guy. I'm just trying to remember his name now. I did a video on it. Alphonso Davies. That's the one. I knew there was a D there. There's talk about him going there next season because he's got 1 year left on his contract, and they haven't got any money left to buy him this season. So we'll have to wait till next summer. So it's going to come down to money for them because can you imagine paying Bellingham's wages and Mbappe's wages? That ain't cheap. And then if you want to get other players, it's going to cost. So maybe he will, maybe he won't. But 50 million, where else can he go? He can't go anywhere in England. I've said it many times. Where else can he go? PSG is still a high level. Bayern Munich still a high level. I mean, hey, who knows? Does he want to play under Vincent Kompany? I mean, it is actually a good move because you've got Harry Kane, Leroy Sané,
Vincent City B team.
Yeah, absolutely. So, can you see him going then this summer?
I can, but I'm not overly convinced yet who's there for him. That's the thing. Yeah. But you know, so it's a bit like other seasons, really. It's just we can see him going, but we'll have to wait to see who can stump it up, or
it might be something that's already
money where the mouth is.
It might already be pre-agreed. That's why he's at 50 million because they've asked him to stay. I think for an extra season or 2, and he's done that. So it's a big.
Well, he's getting to the age now where he has to move, doesn't he? Because if he does, it's that age where he needs another a good run at a club, and of course, as it gets, at this age now, it's probably perfect for him to move at this age. It's the sort of player that City in the old days wouldn't have considered because of his age, would we? Wouldn't have perhaps gone in for him at that stage.
He'll be 30 years old in August.
Yeah, so it's not our sort of style but there's plenty of European royalty that don't mind getting the older players.
Look at Lewandowski's 37. He's knocking on Lewandowski.
You can imagine Bernardo having quite a injury-wise, fitness-wise. He can go on to Leeds, knocking on a bit, can't he?
Yeah, I think that's definitely is an option for people. And if he's at 50 million, it's not an expensive option. I think Bernardo's proper price would be between 70 and 80. So if you can get him for 50, that's pretty good. Grealish, he's had a bad season. I think Pep said he's going to bounce back. He'll come back stronger. But let's be honest, with injury and form, his form and the form of Doku and Gvardiol was keeping him outside.
There's a lot of things about Savio as well coming over, isn't there?
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's only young, still probably a year or two away from. But, there's no room. There's no room. Someone's got to go. Of course, you don't want to get rid of your Oscar Bobs and stuff like that.
Well, if Bernardo goes, then there's a space there. So then your wingers are Bob, potentially Savio, Doku and Grealish, 4 wide men. But my concern is, as we saw against United, everybody is defending against us. Real Madrid, how did they play against City the last 2 or 3 times they played? Ultra defensive, hit us on the break. United, so many teams. There's only 2 teams out there, I think, that generally don't. Well, one team that won't sit on the back foot, and that's Liverpool. Even Arsenal came to our place and played everybody behind the ball, hit us on the break. And we can have as much ball as we want. We've got to beat them. And I just don't see Jack Grealish doing that. I don't see him making those incisive passes. I don't see him dribbling past people or making wonderful crosses like KdB. And you got to worry. If Aston Villa, I mean, Unai Emery's just signed a 5-year contract extension or whatever. He's got a 5-year deal. They're in Champions League. Could you see them coming back and saying, here's 60 million quid? If Aston Villa came back and said, here's 60 million quid for Jack Grealish, would you sell him? Yeah. I agree. It's good money. And then we can stick that into, somebody who's going to break defenses down, because I don't see this changing. Our tippy-tappy isn't going to change. We're looking for that moment, which I
did say for the cup final, I thought Gvardiol playing up that spot Gvardiol was trying to do. He should have just played Grealish.
Yeah.
And he would have been better. He might have been better because he could defend. But what role Gvardiol was playing on that left wing? I mean, just stick bloody Grealish in. What was the point? I have no idea.
Yeah.
But that's again going away from the subject. But I'm talking about how Grealish plays his game. That's he didn't do anything different to what Grealish would have given us. Yeah.
And the last person I'm going to mention, even though you've not seen him at City this season, is Taylor Howard-Bellis. Young kid. I've followed him since he was in the youth, and actually, back in the day, I'm just going to pull out his details. Back in the day, I think it was him who messaged me. I mean, when I don't know why people thought I had some clout. I had some, he's 22 years old, Taylor Howard-Bellis. I think it was him who wrote to me asking me for a ticket for an away game. It was either him or another kid at the time, but I think it was him. But I had a different account on Twitter before I got kicked off for whatever reason. I think that was the one, that account that I was making fun of Liverpool, and I'd used a track. I'd copied it off somebody else, but it had some copyright track, and that's one of the things Twitter won't allow you to get. You can do all sorts. You can call people or anything you want and just make an apology. But use copyrighted material, even though someone else had made it, I copied it and passed it on. Hey, hold my hands up. that's it. You will get kicked off because Twitter don't want lawsuits against them. So you got. But I'm sure. I think it was him. I had a few players I was dealing with. It was Matt? Was it Matt? You remember a guy called Matt Smith? That we had. Was it Matt Smith? It rings a bell. But anyway, I remember him. Anyway, Taylor Howard-Bellis. He's at Southampton. They got promoted against Leeds, and Southampton probably, a few months ago didn't expect to have to pay 20 million for Taylor Howard-Bellis, but because they got promotion, it was a clause in the contract, and it has been exercised. They have no choice but to buy him. I don't think they're going to complain because obviously they're going to do pretty well. But I mean, the poor kid, he was at us since he was a kid, wasn't he? How long has he been here? 2008.
Did we have 3 players there at Southampton?
We've had a few. No, we sold them players.
Right.
So we sold them. Can you remember who we sold them? No? The goalkeeper?
Yeah.
The one from Ireland? You don't remember his name?
The goalkeeper, Trafford.
No. Southampton.
Oh, right. Sorry. Well, it slips me mind at the moment, mate.
We sold them Gavin Bazunu.
Bazunu, yeah.
40 million. Shea Charles.
Right. Yeah.
Shea Charles is only 20 years old. Bazunu's only 22. We sold them those two. We sold them a winger, Sam Edozie. He's 21.
Well, he played, didn't he? He played against Leeds.
And but we'd sold them. So we'd sold those. We'd actually sold them. So they're not ours anymore. And
buyback?
Sorry?
We've got buybacks on them.
I guess we have. I don't know if they're worth it.
Yeah, I'm just saying, not that I saw anything to say, oh yeah, buy a Dozy back or whatever,
Yeah. But you never know. There's a few players out there. Was it Frimpong who's doing really well? He's one of our kids. There's a few players out there. I think, wow, they're doing all right. And they were our kids. But like Cole Palmer, you can't keep everybody. So anyway, Taylor Howard-Bellis, he's 20 million buyouts. So they've got him for 20 million quid. They'd paid us a small amount for his loan fee and whatever. 20 million quid, that's going to go straight into our pockets as a profit on the sale. So we'll do well out of that. I mean, think of Taylor Howard-Bellis. He didn't play much for City. If he was at City for 5, he joined in 2008 when he was a kid because he was born he was only 6 years old when he joined. But he didn't play much for us. He played in 3 seasons. He played 8 games for us. I think don't know what those games were. He didn't play anything in the league. Didn't play anything in the FA Cup. Didn't play in the League Cup. Didn't play in Europe. Might play in friendlies or Community Shield or something. I'm just looking down his record. No, he did actually play in the some games in the FA Cup. Sorry, I take it back. Played 3 games in the FA Cup and scored a goal. A couple of games in the League Cup. I was looking at the wrong table. So he's not played. He played 8 games for City in total, but none in the league. Then he went to Blackburn on loan, 19 games for them. Anderlecht on loan under Vincent Kompany, 16 games there. Stoke City on loan in the Championship. You knew he was not going to be anything at City when you're going on all these loans, 22 games there. Burnley on loan, 32 games there under Kompany again. When they got promoted from the Championship, I thought they'd take him then, but they didn't. So Southampton on loan, but he had that buyout clause. I'm surprised he didn't have it in with Burnley. But anyway, he's gone now. Played 40 games last season for Southampton. 20 million quid. It's good business, and it helps our finances are in rude health at the moment, even though people say all sorts. And Taylor Howard-Bellis, 20 million quid on the bottom line. It'll help ease the pain of Kalvin Phillips going for about 30 million. It softens that blow. But he has no future at City, really. Even though he's helped Southampton to get them promoted, we don't want him back, do we?
No. No, there's no one that we've farmed out, say, apart from Savio, who did very well. I can think that's been sort of pulling up any trees elsewhere.
Well, Savio wasn't a City player. He was a CFG player. He was at Troyes in France.
Yeah.
He went off to Girona, had done really well there, and now.
Well, you know what I mean. The links there to come back.
Troyes is selling him to City.
And there's an Argentinian knocking around somewhere, and then there's another guy knocking around who's came and not coming till. Is he coming this season? Isn't there another Argentinian lad coming?
Yeah, Echeverri.
Yeah.
Echeverri. I can't. When I did the articles on him, I could remember how to say his name.
Like Alvarez, where he finished off and he's coming over in July. I don't know if he'll be farmed out or whether he'll stay. I'm not sure.
I think for the money is Claudio Echeverri. I don't know how to say his name. There's a tennis player with the same name. So anyway, so he's Echeverri's 18. He's an attacking midfielder or a forward. He plays for River Plate, and he's there on loan from Manchester City. And this is from Wikipedia. Considered one of the best young players in the world. He's known for his speed, vision, positioning, creativity, and a devilish dribbling style, which has earned him the name El Diabolito.
Well, we need the dribblers, mate. If we're going to do anything next couple of seasons, we need the dribblers against this static defence that we're having to put up against.
The thing with the Echeverri is Echeverri, whatever. He done like either Gabby J or Alvarez. He's on an 18-month loan, so he could come in July, or he could come. He's due to come in January 2025, but he might come in the summer. We'll have to wait and see. So, yeah, his name is spelled Echeverri, but I think they pronounce it Echeverri because he was named after a Bolivian footballer called Marco Echeverri, who was nicknamed El Diablo. So they both called that. Anyway, so there's a few players out there. That could come back or could come for the first time after playing elsewhere under the City Football Group banner. But that's chat for another time. I think that's plenty. We talked mostly about.
We didn't buy anyone, mate, and we lost a couple of guys that we've already mentioned. Are we winning the league? Yeah.
If we lose Kalvin Phillips, that makes no difference to us.
Lose Grealish.
If we lose Grealish, I don't think that makes any difference to us.
Lose KdB will make a bit of a difference.
But KdB, he's not going.
Bernardo.
See, I think, losing Phillips, zero difference because he didn't play. Grealish, I don't think that's going to make it
negligible. Yeah.
Negligible because he's a good player, but he's in and out.
Well, he's a squad guy at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah.
Let's be honest, yeah.
Once you get rid of someone like KdB, Bernardo Silva, then it does start having an impact. KdB, you could argue, well, part of him says less so because he didn't play that much this season, but he had a good impact when he did. But he got dragged off in the FA Cup final. He's either been brilliant or crap. Can we say that about KdB?
Yeah. I think you probably say if he doesn't say it himself, he's being a bit naive. In what he's done, I'm sure he thinks that it's not the first final we've lost him, and he's not quite done it, is it?
But I think Grealish has played at a higher level. So not Grealish, Bernardo has consistently played at a high level.
Yeah.
He's had a couple of dodgy games, and I can remember you saying that 3 or 4 times this season. Where was Bernardo? What was he doing? But sometimes he's pushed out on the right when he should be.
It's not his fault. It's because perhaps we're having him playing more timid roles. I think I wanted him a bit more active.
The problem is
he's become the Jack Grealish at times. He became that role for Pep, where he would say to him, "Just do that and keep the ball and circulate." He became Pep's Jack Grealish.
The problem I see is you can't. There's 3 players I want to play in the middle: Foden, KdB, Bernardo, and you can't. You can only play a maximum of 2. So what do? You either push Foden out on the left or Bernardo out on the right to fit everybody in. What's going to happen next season if all 3 of them stay? That's going to be really interesting. If we've got Doku, who's, let's be honest, for his debut season at 20, he was 22 yesterday, I think. At 22 years old, you'd think, wow, if he can just keep improving like anybody would, it'll be great for us in next year after. If we get somebody on the right to cause trouble, you can't fit those 3 players in. There is one way to fit those 3 players in, but Pep won't do it.
False 9. Get rid of Haaland.
Yeah, stuff him. I'm sorry. People will say, "Oh, he's done all this." In the big games, what did he do? In those games where he had, was it West Ham, 3 chances, didn't score, or so many times, and he's relying on space. We're not giving any space behind. We're not giving any space behind, and that's my concern. And as I said to my brother-in-law on Sunday when I saw him, you take away his penalties, he's done about 18 goals last season, 18 league goals, which is still a good number, but it's not an outstanding number. It's a Sergio Aguero-esque season, and that's my concern about Haaland. Is
Phil Foden season.
Phil Foden's done that without the penalties. So, and from playing midfield. So, Haaland's got to, and I said it on Sunday, he can't, I'm not going back to the FA Cup, but he can't hold the ball up. He can't hold the ball up. So, if we haven't got the space behind, you've got to be able to hold that ball up, which is why I'll go back and said we should have got Harry Kane. I don't mind having both of them, Harry Kane and Haaland, playing together. Kane will drop deep and leave Haaland up front, because that would cause tremendous problems for teams. But hey, we are where we are.
False number 9s. We've had deep, nothing wrong with 2 number 9s, is there? What was wrong with that? Nothing wrong with that.
Pep's tried playing Alvarez and Haaland together. So why can't you play Harry Kane and Haaland? Anyway, that's for another story. But if you're listening, Erling, score some more goals. Score against the big team. Score early. Be more clinical. We can shout as much as we want that he's got some wonderful goals and everything else, but he's not clinical, and that's what bugs me. For the chances he gets, he's not clinical enough. And yes, his average season, which people will turn around and say, it's an average season, it's still better than most people's best seasons. But for what we need and where we want to be, it's small margins. It's always small margins. It's a small margin between winning the FA Cup or not. There's a small margin between winning the Champions League or not. And we need that. We need that marginal gain. Anyway, that's it. So hopefully we've cheered you up a bit, Bernard.
Not really, mate. No.
I was here to cheer you up, but then you started talking about the FA Cup final, and that's not the cheer result.
It's the elephant in the room, mate.
It's true. It's true. FA Cup final is not going to cheer us up. All right, buddy. You take care, mate. I'm sure at some point soon we'll do a video about potential transfers in. We've got a few ideas, and if you want to catch Bernard, he does videos every day. At least one video a day. You pop out.
Only Christmas Day I don't put one out.
Why's that?
Because I'm a Muslim. Or I'm not a Muslim. I can't figure out which now.
You're gonna get people writing in now, Bernard. No, why don't you just put a preload a video on Premiere it, have it set for a premiere, and
I could put one out, but obviously there's no problem. I could definitely put one out Christmas Day, but I just thought they need a rest so they can have a day off.
You put a premiere. People want to see. They want content. Christmas Day by 3:00 in the afternoon after you listen to the King's speech, whatever. There's nothing to do. Just nothing to do. So we want to see some content, man. We want to see. So
I might do a nativity for next year. A one man nativity. How about
that? Mate, I don't want to know who's going to play the Virgin Mary. And on that note, on that sick note, we're going to say thank you guys for watching. It's been, hopefully you've enjoyed. If you watched it to the end, why? You've been committed, or you need to be committed. No, there are people who do watch and they enjoy it because.
Well, don't forget, you could have it on in the background while doing other things, and the ears prick up at certain things, and then you just sort of carry on with the phone and messing about, and then that's how I usually watch things. I'm not blinkered. I sort of have it on in the background, have a listen, and do other things.
When I watch,
I always make that multitask, but I know we try.
No, but I'll be honest, when I watch your videos, I'm totally focused.
Well,
about
just
2 minutes.
before bedtime. But you want to get to sleep very quickly. You're sorted.
You look after yourself, buddy. Take care. Cheer up. When you're back in work?
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. Thanks, mate. Yeah. Thursday, a couple of days from now. Yes.
Enjoy it, mate. Take care. See you around, Blues.